Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. We are looking at another built model today. This time it is the Italeri 1933 Cadillac Fleetwood in 1/24th scale. This kit came out, I think, in probably the 1980s, probably the early 1980s originally. And there are two 33 Cadillacs available from Italeri, or there were two Cadillacs from Italeri. This one, 1933 Cadillac Fleetwood all-weather Phaeton, as they describe it, and then the 1933 Cadillac Town Car. So I bought the Town Car years ago actually, and I remember that a lot of the components are very similar. It's essentially the roof and rear bodywork which is different on the Town Car. The fenders, wings, the hood, grille, chassis, engine, everything I think is shared between the two kits otherwise. They describe this as an all-weather Phaeton. I'm not convinced this is actually a Phaeton. I could be completely wrong. I thought a Phaeton was a buggy or car that had a bulkhead and possibly even a windshield behind the front seats and in front of the rear seats. But I stand to be corrected. If you know more than me about that, please comment below and let us know. So, this one I completed a few months ago. The colour is, it's a Ford metallic brown paint from an aerosol can, a Ford of Europe metallic brown paint, possibly also available in the US. So obviously not what would have been on the real Cadillac, but I thought it suited it quite well, and it looked sort of grown up and expensive in the way that a car owned by a very wealthy person in the 1930s might do. So what do you get in the kit? Well, I think when this came out in the early 80s, it would have been quite a showpiece. It would have been one of the more detailed car kits available at that time, in my estimation. There's a wealth of separate detail and also one or two peculiarities and oddities that make it difficult to assemble, which we'll look at in a moment. But in terms of what is in the kit, in terms of the detail you get an awful lot of chrome work. So things like the bumpers, front and rear bumpers, the grille, the headlamps, the headlamp brackets, the horns, the side lamps, the hubcaps, 6 of those because you get one for each spare wheel as well. The spare wheel retaining brackets, these chrome trim pieces on the side of the wing, on the side of the fender there, they're separate chrome pieces. Door handles are separate chrome pieces, windshield wipers are separate chrome pieces. Turning it around, looking at the other side as well. Tail lights, fuel filler cap, luggage rack, rear bumper, rear trunk, lid handle, all separate chrome pieces. I don't think you'll be able to see very clearly inside. No, you can't. But, well, maybe you can see that there are separate chrome pieces for the interior door handles and window winders as well. So a lot of detail going on there. Of course, you also get clear glasses for the headlamps. I'll talk a bit more about those in a moment. Oh, and there's a nice hood ornament there as well. So a lot of detail going on. Really quite impressive, much more than you get on some model car kits released much more recently. So very good. I said there are some peculiarities as well. What we're looking at here is a multi-piece body. So, fortunately, the wings, the fenders, running boards on both sides are all one large piece, which is good because that helps you to line up everything else, because everything else is multi-part. So the grille surround here is a piece. The hood is 2 pieces with a join line in the middle. So I just masked off and added a chrome painted trim strip down the centre. I'm not sure if that's really accurate for the real car, but it was the only way I could think of to try to hide that join in the 2 halves. So that's 2 pieces. There's then this bulkhead area here, which forms the base of the windscreen as well, and the windshield edges. That's a separate piece. This assembly with both doors and window frames on is a separate piece, same for the other side, and those pieces match up to this, I don't know what you'd call this, like a bustle this rear piece which wraps around from the rear door this side, forms the trunk and wraps around to the rear door that side. That's a separate piece as well. And then a large one-piece hood that sits on the top. I had a lot of trouble lining all that up, I won't lie to you. So what I chose to do was to assemble both these side panels and this rear piece as one large C-shaped piece, which would then fit over the interior, which sits directly on the big main base plate. Fit it over that, line that up then with the front bulkhead piece, and then sort of hope really that the hood and grille surround would fit into place reasonably well, which they did. However, I did have a lot of trouble lining up these pieces, so I didn't get them to fit quite correctly. So you can see actually quite a nasty misalignment there, a gap. Which makes it look as if the front door is very slightly open there, which isn't intentional at all. So if I was going to do this kit again, I would start working from this end first, from this area first in terms of assembly, and try to nail that before worrying about anything else. However, you live and learn. I don't remember having that trouble with the 33 Cadillac Town Car that I built when I was a schoolboy. But then maybe I just didn't care much. Then maybe I just wasn't as bothered about having that sort of fit issue. Can't remember, to be honest with you. I mean, it does go together fairly well. Yeah, I've not got the hood sitting. Well, it's not too bad, but it's not quite perfect as it sits on the bodywork there. And all the work that went into the interior is pretty much invisible because it's hidden inside behind those windows, which, as you can see, I managed to fog the edges of as well. So really not a perfect build by any means on this occasion, I'm sorry to say. What else is to see? If I very carefully take the hood off, we can have a look at the V16 engine, which was a famous feature of the 1933 Cadillac. Builds up quite nicely on the model. I haven't added any detail on there, that's just as it came out of the box. And in reality, the real Cadillac V16 engines did look quite simple. One reason being that they were 1930s engines, so they didn't have the massive wiring and plumbing that more modern car engines tend to have. There is every chance that I can get that hood back on there without causing damage. Let's just see if I can. The tension is mounting. And we're nearly there. Yes, we're in. Fantastic. That's quite a relief. So there we are. That's my build of the Italeri 1933 Cadillac Fleetwood all-weather Phaeton V16 in 1/24th scale. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks very much for joining me.